Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann, and it's just me, dropping more knowledge with a little bit of current happenstance from society and how it applies to something from my past or the past of someone I know and why we haven't learned.
Why?
The theme of today is taking the easy way is not the best way. What is inspiring this plane of thought? That would be the current epidemic of fat fucks that think that taking drugs like Rybelsus or Mounjaro or Ozempic to lose weight is the answer. Much like when they first started doing lap bands and gastric bypass surgery, and a bunch of people jumped on board. And if you go way, way back in the episode, you'll see that I had a friend named Mark, and he had that surgery, and that he didn't necessarily like what happened to him afterwards. He likes that he lost the weight, but he hated eating the same thing all the time, or how fast he'd get full. Or my buddy Rick James has another friend that had gastric bypass, and he lost all the weight, and it seemed like the answer, but then he just didn't fucking keep up with eating right, and he gained all that weight back anyway. But these drugs, which are designed for people with adult type 2 onset diabetes to manage it, were found to have a secondary function that helps with weight loss. Kind of like when they found out that Viagra doesn't just treat heart issues, it helps with boners. So again, they figured out that these medications can help with weight loss. And as soon as that happened, everybody started jizzing their pants for the FDA to approve this shit because they thought that it was going to be this miracle drug. And what they didn't realize till after it went to market and people started taking it en masse is that there were certain side effects that they didn't think of, like how these drugs help because they cause your stomach to digest food slower. But in rare cases, it would take so long or too long for the stomach to empty out, and it would lead to stomach paralysis, or basically the food is just like fucking stuck there, and they feel really shitty. So that's one of the major side effects of Ozempic that people are dealing with now. The other thing is much like a lot of things you do, like steroids for instance. Obviously you don't just take steroids and get huge. You take steroids and then you work out a lot and then you get big, right? But as soon as you stop doing the steroids, you got to keep working out, but you're not going to have that same boost. So you're going to lose some of that gain. And if you just stop working out once you get to your peak, then you're just going to lose all of it and have flappy man titties.
That's nasty.
Now, the reason this drug took off is because we've got so many fucking fatties in this country, and they want a quick, easy answer on how to not be such a fucking fat, sick, disgusting ball of shit. And here's the issue. I get it that it's hard to diet and exercise, but that has time and time again been what they preach to people for gradual weight loss. Manage your diet. Take in fewer calories than you spend. Don't fill up on empty carbs and sugary sweets and other processed crap. Lift weights. Go for a walk. Move the fuck around. You can't just pop a pill and then sit there on the couch and magically go from my 500-pound life to, holy shit, I'm a size 10 only. Yay! No, it's not like that. You got to put the fucking effort in. I ballooned up to 230 pounds, and I looked pregnant, and I was disgusted with myself. So then I got a job on my feet where I was moving around a lot, and I stopped eating so much, and then I lost 40 fucking pounds. It was great. I felt incredible. My joints were much better. But you see, we have a society where people want instant gratification. They get it in the form of TikTok videos, which are shorter than a YouTube video, but oh, I want this, I can just order it on Amazon and with Prime I'll get it in a day or two. Instant gratification. I'm hungry, but I don't want to leave. I want fast food. I'll have some other loser who delivers food for a living bring it to me so I can shove that fat fucking food in my fat fucking face and sit here on my couch being a fat fucking fat fuck.
Oh my god, why am I such a fat fuck now?
Because you didn't put in the work. Because you popped the pills thinking it was all going to go away. But then you stop with the pills because it's making you have diarrhea, it's making you have headaches, blurred vision, and stomach paralysis, and you're like,
oh no, now I'm a fat fuck again.
Yes, you are. Because, again, you could have put in the work and gradually got there, and it would have felt good because you would have put in the effort and earned it. But no, you wanted the quick, easy answer, and that's not okay. Because we have seen this before in society. There were drugs like Dexatrim in the 80s or Fen-Phen that they had these unknown side effects that could cause heart damage. Now, I mentioned that somebody close to me was affected by this shit. I have an aunt. She ended up having to sue the makers of Fen-Phen because she took the drug to lose weight and it damaged one of her heart valves, and her health has never been good since. So she tried the quick, easy answer, and she got permanent fucking damage that she's had to live with for 40 fucking years afterwards. Think about that. Half of her life has been on the backswing after damaging her heart, trying that instant gratification, quick, easy fix that involves no actual hard work or dedication. Well, I bet you she wishes she could go back and actually tried some other things aside from this medication and then not had the heart damage where she was afraid she could die at any moment moving forward. Now, thankfully, she's gotten at least another 40 fucking years out of it, but still, think of what she did to herself just to achieve the goal of ideal weight. They give you this mindset in magazines, TV, movies. You want to look good. You want to look like this model. You want to be skinny. You want to be thin. You want to be like average and healthy and slender. You don't have to be fucking beanpole skinny like a fucking model or have cheekbones that protrude out of your sunken fucking skinny cheeks to the point where you can cut glass with them. You don't need that shit. You just need to eat more salads, maybe some lean chickens, stop fucking going to the drive-thru all the time, and lift some weights and walk around. That's all she had to do. And she might have had 4 kids, and I get that that plays a part in it, and she was in a midlife crisis probably going, oh my God, I need to lose this weight. Ozempic came out, and so many people want it that it's hard to come by now because the demand was too great for what they created. And so many people just started instantly slamming it down their gullet because they thought it was going to be the answer, and it turned out, there's issues. Kind of like if people didn't take the time to research certain vaccines they might have taken in the last few years, and they got the shitty one, and it had side effects like blood clots that killed people. Or women that are seeing changes in their period. Or let's go with the HPV shot, Gardasil. How some people that took it when it first came out are now getting to an age when they want to have kids, and they're having difficulty conceiving, and the only thing that they can find different in their periods and their cycles is how it changed after they had the goddamn Gardasil shot, and that's what they're looking at as causing this damage. You think you're going to fix a problem, boom, here's a shot, boom, here's a quick answer, boom, take these pills, and then you get this unfortunate circumstance and side effect afterwards, and you're left to deal with it, and you're playing catch-up, and you're no better off than you were if you would have just stayed fat or unimmunized. And I'm not trying to sound like an anti-vaxxer. You should totally give your kids all of the fucking vaccinations for like measles, mumps, and rubella, or the hepatitis ones, or the chickenpox ones, or the polio ones. Give them all those ones. Give them all the ones that we for a while thought might give them the autism, but then that guy said, no, that's not the case. Sorry, I lied. Yeah, give them all of those. If you have a loved one that is looking into gastric bypass surgery, you need to talk to people that had it. Not just doctors that guarantee you'll have these results or it's so safe. You need to talk to people that had it and see what complications they had so you can kind of predict what you think your body's going to do based upon similar circumstances or maybe a lack of similar environmental factors. Kind of like when I went in for my hernia fix, they're like, we're going to jam mesh in you and we'll fix it that way. And I'm like, I keep seeing commercials for mesh problems and a lawsuit. We won't use that kind of mesh. No shit, Sherlock, but it sounds like mesh in and of itself is fucking shitty. And then I talked to my uncle who had a hernia and a mesh repair, and he had problems with the mesh, and I'm like, fuck you, no mesh. Did my research, found a doctor down in Florida, trained by a surgeon from India, new method, no mesh. It's been 8.5 years. I'm fine. Do your fucking homework, do your due diligence. Read on the internet any studies that are about what you're trying to do with your body with some drug you're going to put into it or with some surgery you're going to have to fix everything. But just overall, look at the grand scheme here. Can you get the results you want if you put in some hard work? Can you just skip all this pie-in-the-sky dream bullshit of swallowing a capsule twice a day or once a day or what have you, and suddenly, oh, I'm going to lose all this weight and I'm going to feel so good. Well, you can't just pop the pill. You also got to put in the exercise and change your diet. But why don't you just skip the pill and change your diet and then exercise more and hopefully get to at least 2/3 of where you want to be? Because that's better than getting to where you want to be, but being all fucked up afterwards, isn't it? Because look at like Madonna, who's clearly had work done, and instead of looking like herself but slightly older, she went from looking like an older, haggard version of herself to looking like a fucking Bratz doll to the nth degree, and it's just gross. And that happens to a lot of people of plastic surgery to do the facelift. Maybe if you just lose a little weight and you put some lotions on your skin that firm up, you don't have to go and have some doctor butcher your face and then staple it away in other places, and then you end up looking like a fucking monstrosity. And then this is like the sad reality is some people are just always going to be big because they have glandular issues. It exists. There's people who their fucking thyroid doesn't function right and their pancreas does not deal with insulin properly, and they're just always going to be a big fat fuck. Okay, well then you got to sit there and take those lemons and paint that shit gold, as the album title goes. But for those of you that are overweight and do have the opportunity to fix it because it's not glandular, don't expect a quick, easy fix to be the best path. Because when you cut corners, you usually end up fucking something up.
That is correct.
If you skip a few steps in the directions when you're putting together the Lego set, suddenly this thing is supposed to hinge, and a wall is supposed to turn, and it's supposed to be a really fucking cool castle with the weird, passageway in a fucking bookcase or something. And then what do you got? Well, you got the bookcase don't turn because you've missed the part with the rotating piece, and you fucking skipped the instructions properly. Whoops. Or if you think that you're just going to take these pills and magically overnight you're going to be the size you want, that's not reality. It's not. Just like if I practice running for a week, that doesn't mean that I can go fucking run a marathon or I can compete with Olympic guys. It's just not the answer. It's an unrealistic expectation. So the main thing is to lower your expectation to something more reasonable and then put in the hard work so you don't have to be the laughing stock that is like, oh, hey, I saw Bill. He looks pretty good. He's lost a bunch of weight, but why is he wheeling around that fucking oxygen cart? Oh, well, see, Bill took some pills that unfortunately wreaked havoc on his body, and now he don't breathe so good, and now he's got that. So he's wicked skinny, but he wheezes all the time. Womp, womp. The last part of this I want to address is how the public first found out about this and then jumped at the chance to get it. Bad idea. They just got this thing to market. They didn't have enough time to test it properly to see what the long-term side effects were. So why the fuck would you rush into this? This is your health we're talking about. Like when the Xbox 360 came out, I didn't get one of the first run consoles. I waited a bit to see how they worked out the bugs, because with any new technology, there's going to be shit that they didn't foresee happening. Like they wouldn't read the discs properly, or the Red Ring of Death thing, and I waited till the second run of them came out before I bought one. And even then, guess what? I have had 5 Xbox 360s, because I had Red Rings of Death and fucking disk drive issues. You gotta give time for these things to simmer and show you what's really there at the top. So with the COVID vaccine, I fucking waited a while to see what it did to people. And then I picked a certain one, and I got that over the others because it just seemed like it was more effective and people felt less shitty getting the one that I did. It was the Pfizer. Or I guess kind of like when the Juice, my oldest, wasn't a talker early enough for
the Beast's
expectation. I said, let's just wait and see how this goes. It's our first kid. She doesn't have any siblings to learn from. We'll see how it goes. And after 6 months, she wasn't really talking yet. And I'm like, okay, now we can get the speech clinician and send her to speech therapy. And we did. And she's an excellent talker now. You just got to wait these things out. Because if I would have gone with what her mom wanted, I would have gotten a kid diagnosed with autism that doesn't technically have it or has shown very little evidence of autism thereafter. And it's like, once they get that diagnosis, can you get that thrown out? I don't know. Why don't we fucking wait and see and not have to go through all those extra steps? Just like with Teslas. People are all jizzing their pants over these electric cars. Why don't you wait and see how long before one of those things bursts into flames while it's charging, or how this autonomous driving shit goes before we all go out and buy one, right? Wait and see approach. Take a metered decision-making pattern. Don't just go for the quick, easy fix, because more often than not, it's going to blow up in your fucking face or burn down in your driveway. Wink. So, fatties, I need you to know that you shouldn't take drugs like Ozempic or Mounjaro or Smeglitude or whatever the fuck all these other variations of it are, Rybelsus. Don't take those. It might seem like the answer, but it's kind of like liposuction. They suck the fat out, and then eventually the fat just fucking comes back anyway. So you got to put in the work, or just accept your fate at being a human fucking beanbag chair. I don't know. Not ending on a positive note, but this wasn't meant to be all sunshine, besides the advice of taking the wait-and-see approach and don't go for the easy fix. Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It. That is at What Do We Call It. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann. And that's the end.